Hey guys, this is Pram bringing you the top 16 of the Virginia State Championships. On our left we have Peter running Darkrai, and on our left we have Luke running Gothitelle Accelgor. It's a pretty interesting choice. It's a deck that I think is pretty interesting, so we have it here on our first game of the State Championships, and he's put the Dark Energy onto Gothita, and just uses Tropical Beach, plays on Mew EX. So his strategy is really just to use Darkrai as a free retreater, get some Gothitelles out, and really just lock down the game with Accelgor and Mew EX. So let's see how Peter will respond to this. He gets down a Dark Claw, and that's going to be really important for the math on Gothitelle. You know, Gothitelle does have 130 HP, so 90 plus 30 for Darkrai's Night Spear isn't a knockout. However, when you add in Dark Claw, it makes the math a little bit more bearable. So let's see how this works out for Peter. He does do an Energy Search and gets a Dark, and that's probably just going to go straight onto the Darkrai, unless he has a Juniper and he wants to just discard the Dark Energy. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, so Luke's hand looks pretty decent. He has a DCE, Computer Surge, Skyla. He looks like he is going to be able to get a turn 2 Gothitelle out, and maybe even a turn 2 Deck and Cover. So we'll see how that works out. We do see a Computer Search, and let's see what Peter gets. Not really sure what's in his hand, so he gets a Sableye. And it looks like he's just trying to fix his hand, maybe just hope that his opponent does not use or get a turn 2 Gothitelle. Because turn 2 Gothitelle in this format is really crippling for a lot of decks. A lot of decks just cannot keep up with that. But we'll see what happens here. We do see a Hypnotic Laser. And yeah, that's a head, so Gothita is asleep, he's poisoned. Up comes Sableye. We have an Energy Switch, and he's going to Tropical Beach for 7. So let's see. He's really just banking on Luke not having the turn 2 Gothitelle. However, we know that he in fact does. And let's see how this draw treats Luke. He's just going to straight up draw the Gothitelle. So he's going to have a Skyla, Rare Candy, Gothitelle. He might even have the he can get the Accelgor too. So we'll see a Skyla. This is going to get a Rare Candy. But it looks like Luke's going to check in his deck. There's a lot of moving pieces with Gothitelle Accelgor. So making sure you have everything you need in your deck to win any given matchup is pretty important. But it looks like he gave a quick skim, didn't see anything missing, and he's just going for the Rare Candy here. So we're going to see a Rare Candy Gothitelle, and that's going to work out really nice for Luke. Gets out a Poison, stops his opponent's trainers, and his opponent's even going to have to read the card. Just kind of shows how unplayed this card is. It's really foreign to a lot of newer players who don't really know anything outside of attack. That's not a stab at Peter, but one thing I've noticed is because I actually also played this deck at this state championship, and some people didn't know what paralysis does. So that's kind of a state we're in. But for people who don't know, what paralysis does is you turn it to the 3 o'clock position, your Pokemon to the 3 o'clock position. And then your opponent, that Pokemon, if it's paralyzed, you can't retreat or attack that turn, and it just only lasts for 1 turn. I had some questions on how paralysis works, so there we go, got that out of the way. And we even have an Accelgor out, and he has this is gonna work out really nice for Luke. He gets the Deck and Cover, it does 50, and then the poison damage is gonna bring it up to 60 damage. And Sableye's paralyzed and poisoned, so he can't really do much to get out of it. And he's just gonna die. It's just gonna get knocked out at the end of Peter's turn, which means Peter basically just lost a turn of attacking, which is very huge. And Luke has a Computer Search. He's gonna get a card off the prize, And he's going to get a card off the top of this deck, which means he's just going to computer search for Juniper next turn, which is going to be very big. So we do see a Bianca for 1, and just a touchdown Darkrai, and yeah, he's not going to do much. He's just going to get knocked out, and that'll be it. So, yeah. And now we see a draw from Luke. Didn't really get anything too big, just a dark and a rare candy. So we're just going to see Juniper here, and let's see how this works out for Luke here. He's going to Juniper, and what cards he needs, I guess if he draws a Mew DCE, that'd be pretty good. He also wants to start building up another Gothitelle in case it's inevitable. You know, this is not a hard lock, so things can go wrong. Your Gothitelle could go down eventually. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like he has a level ball, some more energies, and let's see, he might consider level ball for Shelmet, and then attach DCE to Accelgor, and that's what he's going to do. Another option would have been to, well, he doesn't have Tropical Beach in play anymore, so that option actually does not exist, but what I was about to say is, if he still had Tropical Beach, what he could have done was get out Gothorita with the level ball, attach the dark to the Gothitelle, and then just set up even more. But because you know his opponent's not going to do anything next turn. He only has 1 dark energy on the Darkrai. No trainers are going to come down really. So you know that's actually an option he could have done anyways, and he does have supporters in his hand, so he would have been fine. But he looks like he's going to take the more aggressive option, and he might want to use the Tool Scrapper here. I highly doubt his opponent's going to get to play trainers this game, or items rather. And yeah, so here we go. Deck and cover puts Darkrai at 8 because of Verbank, and yeah. And now that Darkrai is paralyzed, poisoned, can't really do anything. The only real way out of this is Keldeo. Whether Peter plays it or can draw it is another factor. You know, you can't Ultra Ball under Gothitelle, so that's a big deal. And it looks like he doesn't even draw energy, so this game has quickly slipped away from Peter. You know, we'll just see how this works out. And Luke just draws into the Accelgor. He's getting pretty good draws here. He draws a Mew, DCE, more DCEs, and Accelgor. So Luke looks like he's rolling here. One thing to notice about that Darkrai, it should be at 110. Let's see if that matters. So he's going to come up, retreat, deck and cover. So that's going to do 30. So that should be at 140. 170. This Darkrai should not be knocked out. Some people, I think that's right. Let's see. Yeah, it should be at 110, and then Mew did 130 or did 30, so it should be at 140, and then 30 for poison. Should be at 170. So that Darkrai actually should not be knocked out. It should be knocked out at the end of Peter's turn, which could be. It won't matter. Well, it could matter. So a little bit of a math misstep from both players here, but yeah, we'll see how this ends up working out. You know, if Peter just passes, or then it really didn't matter much. But we see a Juniper, and so at least from Luke's side, it's not gonna be too big of a deal. Actually, there's a Keldeo in his hand. Oh, well. Maybe he could have saved the Darkrai, actually. So, yeah, that could have been huge, because he could have played down Keldeo and then saved it. He might have just let it go anyways, but he lost that option. So, a little bit of a math misstep. And now we're going to see a Skyla coming in. And this Skyla is just going to get an Ultra Ball so he can continue the Mew lock. Likely discards are going to be N and Dark Energy. Maybe, you know, N has became a very not good card for Luke here. You know, gets some cards, but he looks like he's just going for the Shelmet and the Accelgor. I guess he's like, hey, well, if the math worked out that well last time, maybe it'll work out like this again, but that's not actually the way it works. I mean, I'm just going to make sure my math isn't wrong here. So it does 50 plus 30 for Verbank, so that's 80 damage, and then at the end of Peter's turn, it would do 110, and then during Luke's turn, he would hit it for Mew for 30, which brings it up to 140, and at the end of his turn, Poison, which brings it up to 170. So I am not wrong here. It's just, yeah, they just... Anyways, Gothitelle comes up, and we do see 80 damage come onto that Darkrai. He is paralyzed again. And Keldeo rushes in, tries to save his buddy Darkrai. But, you know, I don't know how much Luke can do. We do see an N here for 3, and that could be very brutal. You know, no Tropical Beach in play. Luke's really going to have to draw something really nice off this. And, you know, give Peter a couple turns. And if Luke doesn't draw anything, then the game will have shifted completely because of N. So let's see how this works out for both players. We see Luke drawing Accelgor and DCEs. Not the best cards you want to draw. I mean, it's not bad, but not the best either. We do see a catcher. So he's going to Accelgor, DCE. What would that do? That would bring the 100, 130. Coming at the end of Peter's turn would be at 160. So because of Verbank, this is going to be a pretty decent play. Caldeo's just going to take 100 damage and then 30 for poison. So it's going to be at 130. And yep, there it is. It's paralyzed. And now, unless Peter plays 2 Caldeos, yeah, there's no way that Caldeo's getting out. However, we will be up against a Night Spear. So yeah. There is the Juniper, and he kind of knows that Luke's hand is just nothing. He played DCE Accelgor, but that was it. However, Luke will be getting 2 cards at the end of Luke's turn, so he's going to be at 5 cards by the time it comes back to Peter. So here we go. Draws a Shelmet, and this is getting pretty good for Luke. I mean, like... Just like things have just been working out pretty well. So he passes, takes 2 more prizes, gets a Tropical Beach and a Mew, and now we're gonna see some Night Spears coming in. So things you want to do 30 damage to in this situation. Actually, in this situation, I think you want to just attack the Shelmet here. He Junipers away, and his deck is getting really low. Kind of like a Reckless Abandon kind of thing. And at this point, if Luke just plays N, I think the game is over. Kind of weird how this one worked out. Actually, if Luke can draw Accelgor off the top, then the game is actually just over. But we'll see how this works out. He draws a Gothita. He's just going to play everything down and then just beach is what I suspect he'll do. You know, if you had put the 30 damage on the Shelmet, you wouldn't have lost to decking. Luke plays a catcher down. I don't think he thinks he's going to lose regardless because his opponent's just going to deck. But things could have been dangerous here, you know. His opponent just decks out because he overcommits with Juniper in a game he probably could have won. You know, that Gothitelle wouldn't have went down. The Shelmet would have went down. Luke wouldn't have been able to attack, really. And, yeah. Looks like Peter loses in a game where Luke kind of blew up. But, you know, he just didn't know how to adapt to the situation at hand. And we saw Luke just kind of steal away a game. So, we're going to go into Game 2 soon. These players are shuffling up. And they're kind of thinking to themselves... They're kind of just analyzing what just went on. Peter kind of learning what his opponent deck deck does for the first time. Luke kind of confirming the matchup a little bit, though admittedly his view on the matchup is probably a little skewed now due to like how easily won that game was. But honestly, I think Peter probably had a good shot at winning that game if Peter knew what all of Luke's cards did. So there's that. And now we're just going to go on to game 2 after these players shuffle up. And Peter's going to get to go first. So big advantage in Pokemon to go first. There's 0 drawback. It's very... That's just the way it is. It didn't always used to be like this. Back maybe a few years ago, there was usually a little bit of a downside to going first, because you do get to evolve first. You get your first energy attachment. However, they've gotten rid of the drawback, and now there is 0 downside to going first. So if you go first, you're at a instant advantage going into the game. And yeah, so now we'll see how this works out for Peter, if he can bring it back up to 1-1, or if Luke will walk away with this at 2-0. And they've been playing this match for about 15-16 minutes now, and this is a 60-minute match. So like, you can't, with a deck like Goth Accelgor, you really have to play as fast as you can without making mistakes, because you can run into an issue of time. You say you go 1 win, 1 loss in a match, and then game 3 happens, and then you just go behind a little bit because your deck's slower. It takes more parts to get going, and then you lose the match because game 3 never finishes. And that's a very real threat for Luke. So he's gonna want to play this maybe a little faster than he has been. So we'll see if time ends up mattering either. And so Peter drawing his first 7 and sees no basics, whereas Luke does have a Mew EX active. Has a DCE, an Ultra Ball, and not bad. And the die indicating that Luke does get to draw 1 mulligan card when Peter finishes up his mulligans. And that's going to be really helpful for Luke. He really needs as many cards as possible in his opening hand to get himself situated. He needs to get out a lot of cards to pull off his combo. And if he can get it, the deck is very hard to beat. However, if it doesn't happen, then you just kind of get rolled over. So we'll see if that can happen. And we see Peter doing some kind of weird ritual shuffling thing. I don't get it. But players always have their own like weird knacks, little things they do. So he shuffles his deck a little bit. Luke's like, that's not really a shuffle. Here you go. But here we go. So we do see a new 7 from Peter, and it's another mulligan. So Luke gets to start at +3 cards before the game even begins. However, this can be completely negated by a turn 1 N from Peter if he so happens to draw it. So now, there's a lot of things that can happen here. Peter, if he can draw the turn 1 N, this is very good for Peter to mulligan this much. Like I said previously, time is a factor in this matchup. So if Peter keeps mulliganing and then happens to win this game, then there may be no time for game 3, and that's just the way the tournament rolls. It really punishes the slower decks in terms of tournament format, so it makes them a little less viable. But you can still win with them. It's just much harder to do so, as if you played a much quicker deck. So here we go. We're going to see Luke draw 4 cards for his mulligans. And he's going to get 2 Gothitas down. And now it's going to be Peter's start. So here we go. Luke trying to be a little cute with his openings, but then fumbles his cards around. Yep. So we do see another Darkrai opening from Peter. Very strong. And he even has the N. So Luke's really strong turn 1 hand becomes very weak thanks to the N. Well, not weak, but becomes not as good. Starting with let's see, he drew 4, so 11. Starting with an 8 card hand after throwing down 3 basics. It's pretty good. However, Peter kind of denying that a little bit with the N. And we'll see how this works out for Peter. He can run away with this game. It's a very scary situation early game for Gothitelle Accelgor. You're under constant attack if you don't set up fast enough. However, we do see a Shelmet, Ultra Ball, Level Ball, and Juniper. I suspect that we might just see a Shelmet and a Level Ball come down. Maybe get 2 Shelmets down, and then just an N here. He really doesn't want to discard that Gothitelle. Very important card to have, and he really does want to get 2 Shelmets down. He doesn't want his opponent to if his opponent can get the turn 2 Night Spear, that's going to be very, very good for Peter here. He does an energy switch and just passes. I guess he's just kind of trying to get rid of the energy switch out of his hand. But I think that's kind of suspect. Luke puts down 3 damage on the Mew. There we go. He fixes it. There's no Verbank in play. We can see a little bit of maybe Luke's been under constant early game pressure throughout the tournament from Hypnotic Laser and Verbank. Very strong combo. Coming off of a trainer card that does instant 30 damage. 50% on sleep, very strong, and it really defines the format. You either play like very quick guys and then kind of abuse Hypnotic Laser, or you play the setup deck that either locks you down, like what Luke's trying to do, or you play a setup deck that does even more damage than the fast speedy decks can even possibly do, like Blastoise. Blastoise plays Black Kyurem, and Black Kyurem can just hit something for 200 damage, which one-shots anything in the card game ever made. Oh, well, maybe except for the jumbo cards, but anything legally playable, that Black Kyurem kind of just knocks out. So here we go. We do see an N. He does get the double Shelmet, so he kind of went along with the lines of, hey, I'm not going to discard my Gothitelle. And I'm just going to end here, see how many cards I draw, see what I can draw off this end. And hopefully you won't set up fast enough, so we'll see how that works out. We do see both players drawing their hands, and we do see a Gothita, Mew, Ultra. So he will be able to get a turn 2 Gothitelle here, but he doesn't have anything to back it up. And this is very dangerous. He might want to just do it anyways, just so his opponent can't really set up. Yeah, I think that would be the route you want to take here. But it looks like he may not go that route. Yeah, so he's going to attach to the Mew, it looks like, and he's just going to get out the Gothitelle here. Oh, no, he's actually just copying Hypnotic Gaze. So it's auto sleep, and it looks like Peter stays asleep. So now the only way Peter's going to get out of this is a Keldeo. He could have maybe attached to the active Darkrai and then Dark Patched. And then another energy switch after the retreat if he had woken up. but that option is no longer there. So now he's just gonna kind of go through his options, Ultra Ball, see what he can get. He looks like he opts for nothing. And yeah, so now we're just gonna see a Dark Patch. And he does have an energy switch, I believe. But let's see what else he can do. He has not attached yet. If he can draw an energy card, he'll at least have a fully powered Darkrai for next turn, which will be very potent. Luke's really going to have to draw something. He even plays a switch. Very big card here for Peter. He's going to Night Spear 30. And that's going to be a knockout due to poison. Very big turn here for Peter. He's going to take 2 prizes. Gothita is going to be hurt. And he's going to be down maybe a little bit if he can't get anything up. So losing that Mew, pretty big. Things you could send up here. You might want to send up the 30 damage one, but he looks like he's gonna send up the fresh Gothita and draws a Dark Energy. Not the card he's looking for, definitely. He's gonna just Ultra Ball here for Gothita, I think. And then I think he's just gonna sit there and pass. It's gonna be very dangerous for him. If he had just sent up the Gothita and then if he had just sat on a Gothita, he wouldn't have had to deal with a turn 2 Night Spear because you can't play trainers and all that. So he would have been able to buy a little bit more time. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So he's forced to get Gothita out now and then just sit on it now and just kind of hope for the best. Either way, he would have been hoping for the best, but yeah, this way buys him a little bit less time than it normally should. And we're just going to see a pass. He can't really commit that DCE anywhere. So now we're just going to see Night Spear City. Peter is just going to Night Spear all day, every day. He should be taking out that Gothita. Would be pretty big. He plays down N or a Dark Energy. And he looks like he's considering N. Oh my! He ends Luke's hand of nothing into 6 new cards. He just figures, hey, I'm going to be taking prizes, so I might as well let you play the game with me. Very nice gesture by Peter. Normally players would just accept that their opponent was drawing dead and then continue to let them draw dead while you take small advantages, but Peter decides to not play this game and decides, hey, we're going to make this as close as possible. So he gives Luke 6 new cards. Luke draws a bunch of energies, Accelgor, and he's right back in this game. He's going to be able to get a Tropical Beach next turn, so it looks like he's just going to try and set up. Peter takes another prize, and now Luke has everything he needs to start just doing everything he wants to do. He is going to lose that Gothita, though. It's a little bit of a blow to him, but maybe he can pull out of it. We'll see if he can do that. So we do see a Accelgor DCE. He's looking at Ultra Ball targets. And we'll see how this works out. He definitely is going to need the Tropical Beach this turn, I think, though. And I think he's going to need Ultra Ball for Gothita and just hope for the best. He's going to have a computer search, but we'll see how this works out for Luke. He's still behind. No doubt about that, but he definitely would have been much more behind had that end not happened. But now here we are. Luke's trying to fight his way back into the game. He Ultra Balls, gets the Gothita, and hopefully for Luke, that one day being next turn, that Gothita will turn into a Gothita. He is down 2 Gothitas, so that's his 3rd one. He's only has 1 left in the deck. If it's in there, might be in his prizes, and after that, he'll be out of Gothitels. He might have a Super Rod, but yeah. So we do see a Tropical Beach here, and it draws him a good amount of stuff. He is the Gothitelle. He has a Darkrai. He has a Computer Search, Ultra Ball. So he was set, but his opponent continues to end him into a new hand, while continuously giving himself less cards. He's really just trying to get Dark Energies into his hand. Yeah, so let's see what Luke can draw off this new 6. This end wasn't as bad as the first one, though, but this one was probably okay because of the Tropical Beach. But he draws 3 cards. Luke continues to draw Rare Candy Gothitels like it's nothing. And Peter is down to 2 prizes left. But Luke doesn't have a supporter in his hand, so this could be dangerous. And he continues to not have supporter in his hand. So this continues to be dangerous. We do see a Rare Candy and Gothitelle. Luke is hurting right now. He's going to need a lot. He probably is going to have to Rare Candy Gothitelle here, and he's going to have the Tropical Beach here. You can't not Tropical Beach here. He's going to want maybe Super Rod, get some Gothitas back, Ultra Ball, discard the Mew, and Catcher, and then save the Rare Candy, and then he's going to need the Ultra Ball for the Gothita, which will in turn let him have a option for Gothitelle, but he's opting to Catcher, and he's actually just going to just sit on his Gothitelle. So it looks like he's going to deck and cover here, which buys him 1 card. He might be able, if Peter can't draw anything, then he'll be fine. But Peter's not going to be able to do anything this turn anyways. He would have had the knockout on the Gothitelle, but I think Luke may have been able to pull out a 3rd Gothitelle out. But at this point, he's just going to have to... Oh, and there's a supporter, so things working out for Luke. He is going to have to get another Gothita out, though. His Gothitelle is kind of stuck. His deck doesn't... he's just kind of fell too far behind this game. Didn't really get going, and around now is probably like around the time you would want to throw in the towel. If you're Luke here, sure, you can win any game, but I don't think he's gonna win this game. He's gonna... That Darkrai is gonna come in and one-shot the Gothitelle with 30 on it. He's gonna try to get another Gothitelle, but he's only gonna have 1 prize to work with, and without Verbank, you cannot do perfect math on Darkrai's. It just does not work out. He's really just hoping this N will keep him off energies, but it's looking very bleak for Luke here. Things he's going to need a Dark Energy onto maybe even a Keldeo. He's going to need a Dark Energy, Keldeo, Darkrai, Accelgor, and he's going to need the Beach. So this is going to be a big set of couple turns for Luke. It's really do or die here for Luke. And we do see a lot. So we do see a Mew DCE. He's going to want to play that down. He's going to want to level ball for the Accelgor. And after that, he's just going to Tropical Beach for 4, I believe. Yeah, could you play down the... Yeah, he may be able to play down the Gothita too. No, he can't afford the bench space. He's really just going to have to just he's really just going to have to beach for 4 and then just kind of hope for the best. He will next turn be able to do some damage with the Mew. On the bright side, though, this Gothitelle cannot go down unless it's from this particular Darkrai that happens to be poisoned. He really can't play that down, but he ends up doing it anyways. And he's going to draw some extra cards. I hope the one card was worth it. But it looks like Peter, after an end to 2, ends up drawing Juniper. Pretty standard in this format. You know, the less cards you have in your hand, the better your hand is. So he does draw the energy. That Darkrai should be at 8 and should be going into 9 by now. So that could be a big deal. Let's see if anyone notices the poison damage did not change, and we keep moseying on through the turns. We do see a Tool Scrapper, and we're just going to see a Rare Candy Gothitelle into the damaged Gothita, yeah. And now we run into the issue of this guy. He's going to run out of stuff pretty quickly. He's probably just going to have to Dark Energy onto the Gothitelle. Yeah, let's see. So this Darkrai is supposed to be at 9, right? So at the end of this, if he hits it for 30 here, that'll go to 12. 13 for poison. Comes back after Peter's at 14. So, no, that wouldn't work. What if you hit it with the Accelgor? That would be, it's at 9, so it would go up to 14, 15. No, either way you spin it, that Darkrai, you can't do perfect math on it. It's just going to get knocked out at the end of Luke's turn, come next turn, when Luke attacks next turn. So, but it should be at 9 right now. If it's at 7, it would go up to 10. And then goes to 11, in which case you can hit it for 5. Yeah, it's perfect math right now because it's at 7, which is, yeah, that's not cool, I guess. But so let's see if that ends up happening the way it works out this way. I guess, you know, both these players knew with the poison mechanic, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, I can't really tell what number that green die is on, but I suspect it's at 11. I think that is 11. So now what's going to happen is yeah, 7 to 11 goes at the end of Peter's. It's 12, and then Luke does. No. I think either way, no matter what happens, if Luke attacks, it dies at the end of Luke's turn. I think is the way this has to work out. So we do see a Skyla. And that's just gonna get him a supporter most likely. He can't expect any trainer to go through, and he's just gonna thin out his deck. Maybe get another Juniper. Yep, he gets the Juniper. And now Luke holding N will end his opponent down to 1. He really needs to get another Gothitelle out. Though I think no matter what happens, Luke has lost this game because without Verbank on the field, you cannot perfect math Darkrai out of the game, and as a result, Peter is going to get another Night Spear off. That's just like fact of life. So like he's going to get 2 Night Spears off if Peter can draw 2 more energies, and as a result, what that's going to do is he's just gonna. So Luke doesn't have a Dark Energy, and this is why you wanted to attach Dark Energy last turn. onto the Gothitelle. You kind of knew this one Gothitelle was going to have to go all the way. And now you're at an impasse where, well, now you're just kind of done. And Luke really should have scooped up his cards maybe about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. But here we are, continuing on through Game 2. And I'm pretty sure this game is impossible for Luke to win. Especially now that the DC dropped onto the Gothitelle. If he really wanted to win, or if the only way he would have won was really just end and just hope he draws a Dark Energy or something along those lines. Because now what's going to happen is the Gothitelle is going to retreat. He's not going to have any energy on the Gothitelle. The Accelgor is going to knock out the Darkrai. He's not going to have a Shelmet. He's not going to have any energy on the field. The game is literally over. There's nothing Luke can do to win this game at this point. And now we're just kind of watching maybe a 5-10 minute death animation of Luke's board just kind of falling apart. So here we go. Peter gets to send someone up. He graciously sends up Sableye, knowing his opponent will not do anything, so he opts to not do anything also. So very nice of Peter to let Luke do whatever he wants and drag the game out. It looks like he's just going to Tropical Beach for 7 or get up to 7 cards and not continue to not do anything. And Luke can maybe pull out another Shelmet Accelgor and maybe somehow pull back into this game, even though this game should have been over a while ago. So he has the Dark Energy finally. He's gonna want to put that on the Keldeo, and he's gonna even want to drop the Mew. He definitely wants to play that down, and he's gonna want to Ultra Ball for the Shelmet. And he's gonna want to get rid of things like the Skylas in his hand. Those aren't gonna do him any good. Yeah. You definitely want to get rid of the Skylas. But he looks like he's getting rid of an extra Juniper. No, he's getting rid of 2 Skylas here. That's definitely the correct choice, I believe. Especially this late in the game. He's probably out of Trainer Search. Yeah, he is. So he only has an N left, a couple cards left. So getting rid of that those Skylas pretty big. He has a DCE ready. And honestly, I would just Tropical Beach here. Yeah, he just beach for 3 here. Because the only way Luke's gonna win here is if his opponent continues to not draw energy, and so he gets a confusion flip off. And now we're in a situation where Luke will get knocked out to 1 normal Night Spear. However, this is completely preventable if Luke catchers and starts deck and covering the Darkrai. However, if Peter has a Keldeo and a Dark Energy in his hand, then the game literally just ends. So we've been sitting here for a while just watching this game drag out as less and less time gets played for Game 3, knowing that Game 3 will happen because there's probably 0 chances of Luke winning this game. And we're just watching this. Yeah, we just get to sit here and watch this. So, yeah. Now, Sableye is going to probably get knocked out. No, I would catch her here. I would catch her and hit the Darkrai at this point. Well, actually no. I would hit the Sableye. I would just let it get knocked out to poison. Take the extra prize. You really need to get a Gothitelle out. If he can get the Gothitelle out of the prizes, and then he may be able to pull this one back. But as of right, there's the Keldeo. We have a Skyla here. And let's see what he Skyless for. Probably a Juniper again. Gets another Juniper. Very nice that his Junipers have been spread out throughout the game. You know, a lot of times you'll see like Junipers bundled up together. So when you Juniper once, you Juniper like 2 Junipers away, 3 Junipers away. So pretty fortunate that it's been like this. He loses a prize, and that is not a Gothitelle. So Luke has all of his Accelgors in his hand, all of the DCs in his hand, so he really can't Juniper this hand away. And at this point, what do? You know you lose straight up to a Keldeo, so I think you just have to play catcher here. You play catcher here, you hope for the best, and you just deck and cover like your life depended on it. Which his tournament life actually does depend on Peter not drawing a Dark Energy off of Juniper for the rest of his deck. So this is what the game is coming down to. Juniper discards his hand, draws his entire deck almost, and does he have the energy? He rushes in, and yep, there's the energy on it. So game 2 ended about maybe 20 minutes ago. But we got to watch a 20-minute death animation, so that was cool. However, going into game 3, there's really not that much time left, and now we get to watch Peter most likely win on time. That's really just what it's going to come down to. You really can't, I mean, unless Luke draws like amazing, like he has to draw better than he did game 1. Like, and Peter just has to draw like absolutely terrible. Otherwise, I think Peter's just gonna take a few prizes, and then the game is just over. Like, this game is probably won't finish. So that's what we're dealing with, and especially with these pile shuffles coming in. If you're Peter, you just wanna you want to shuffle as long as your opponent's shuffling. If your opponent's shuffling, you just keep shuffling, because honestly, the more time that gets used up, the more of an advantage you are in this particular matchup. Like maybe against other decks, like if you're up against like big basics or anything normal, time could be an issue, and because decks right now can just blow each other out. But with Gothitelle Accelgor, there really is no blowout. They're all long, excruciating matches. So, and this game is going to finish pretty quickly. So, Peter making sure he has all 60 cards in his deck. There we go. And there's not much you can do. I mean, so let's just see how this works out. This is kind of reminiscent of the 2012 World Champion. No, 2012? 2011 World Championships. Where it was Ross Cawthon versus David Cohen. And, game 3, it came down to game 3, and Ross is the slow setup deck, and he just doesn't have enough time to do anything. And that's just what this is going to come down to. So we do see another ripped sleeve from Peter. And, they're probably only going to have 5-10 minutes to play game 3. And that's just really what it's going to come down to. It's just, I can't see, unless one player gets blown out, I can't see this game finishing. So, Luke's all ready for game 3. Peter continuously ripping sleeves, I guess. I don't know what's going on there. And looks like he's ready for it too. And here we go, game 3. So we do see a mulligan from Luke. First one of the match for him. And we do see Peter opening with a basic. Don't know what it is yet, but I see a blue card, so that I think that's Hypnotic Laser. He should he should be in a pretty decent shape. Unique feature about the Plasma cards: any card from Team Plasma has a blue border on it. So, little cool details they added in. But here we go. Let's see if Luke can get a basic off this hand. He does. He gets a Darkrai and a Mew. Probably want to start with the Darkrai. Would be a pretty good starter. You know, Mew can get knocked out pretty quickly. Definitely doesn't want to go down on prizes early. If he can maybe set up pretty nicely, then he can get out of this. But it looks like he's starting with the Mew, and this could be dangerous. Especially, well, he does get to go first, so that's one saving grace. But he's up against the Sableye. So here, he's gonna have to just Juniper his hand away. That's for sure. He's gonna play Darkrai down, and he's just gonna go DCE to active. He goes Dark to active. Peculiar choice. I know what he's thinking. He's going for some junk hunt shenanigans. However, I don't think that was the best, because now he's handicapping himself severely in the short amount of time he has to play this game. So that's going to be an issue, and yeah, we'll see how this works out. We see a Tropical Beach for 3, and that's what's going to happen here. So we do see a Verbank coming in, and then we see a Catcher and Hypnotic Beam, so that's going to be an issue. And let's see how this works out. Oh, we're just going to see a knocked out Gothita turn 1, and that's just what it's going to be. So Peter really looking like he's going to run away with this game. He's going to take a prize turn 1. He kind of knows how close time is coming up, and yeah, maybe Luke could have pulled it back if that was a DCE on the Mew. You know, well, no, because he didn't have a Shelmet, but yeah, then this is what it's coming down to. So let's see if Peter can keep up this pressure, and if Luke can do anything to stop it, really. So we do see a Skyla and N and a bunch of Ultra Balls, whereas Peter gets a Darkrai onto the bench, and now we just see a knocked out Gothita, and it's back on Luke. He's gonna send up the Mew, has free retreat, and let's see what he can muster up. He's really gonna need to get rid of that Verbank. That's gonna be a big card for him to get rid of. So he's gonna, I think he has to Skyla for a Tropical Beach here. And at this point, I think you Ultra Ball everything. You get rid of the Ultra Ball. Well, let's see. He plays the Shelmet. Skyla's for Tropical Beach. Ultra Balls the N and Ultra Ball away for a Gothita. And then you DCE the bench Mew. And then you Beach for 6. And I think that's the best option given what Peter has on the board. Because you can't let Verbank stay on the field anymore. You absolutely cannot do that. You know, your guys have 60 HP. That Sableye is doing 30. Hypnotic Laser is going to hit you for 30. Your guys are just going to fall very quickly. And so we do see a Skyla. And that's just going to get him a level ball. Oh, he cannot do this. I think he just almost instantly loses if he lets that Verbank stay in play. Yeah, he level balls. So now what's going to happen is Luke is just going to get ran over by the Sableye train. It's if Peter can keep drawing catchers and lasers, the game is over. And that's the bottom line, really. That's all of this is. He really just had to beach for 6 and hope to get lucky. And that's just not going to happen here. He's kind of cut himself off of all options at this point. I can't really see a way for Luke to quickly win, especially getting rid of the. He even gets rid of the rare candy, and he's going for a second Gothita. But I think he was kind of in do or die mode to begin with. He really just had to pray his opponent cannot do Verbank Laser Catcher, because now even if he's setting, it's like time is not a factor for Luke here. He just doesn't know that time is done in 3 minutes. So he's gonna Junk Hunt. Doesn't even attach the DCE to the bench Mew. So this has been. I mean, I know why he kept the DCE. However, I cannot agree with this. All we have to he gets a Skyla. If he has a Verbank or a catcher, he gets catcher. I just indicates Verbank in his hand, or not Verbank, a Hypnotic Beam. And wow, this game is just gonna snowball out of control. And what can Luke do about it? I don't think there's anything he can do about this. So, I think this game is over, given how much time's left. And we'll soon see just that happen. That's assuming that Peter does indeed have a Hypnotic Beam in his hand. So we'll see what happens here. We do see a catcher and a Hypnotic Beam on the Shelmet. So it's taken Peter a while to realize what's going on in this game, but he's finally picked it up. And I don't think this play was even possible with Verbank in the field. It would have been much more difficult. So we do see God, I think Luke is just dead here. He's gonna Ultra Ball here for a Gothitelle. And he can't even attack this turn. And then we're gonna see an N. Peter's gonna go down to 4. Luke's gonna draw 6. However, I don't think that's gonna matter too much. And what can Luke do here? Can he do anything? He has to draw. He even has to draw a Shelmet again to survive. To do anything really. So let's see. Did he even draw a Shelmet? And it looks like the answer is no. He did not. He draws another energy. That dark energy should just go straight onto the Gothitelle. And maybe you retreat into Gothitelle and hope for the best, but I don't know what to say, guys. I think this is over. Maybe with 75-minute top cut, this game could be played out completely, and maybe with 75 minutes, Gothitelle Accelgor could win this game. However, given the state of the game, given the time limits of the game, I don't think there's a option for Gothitelle to win here. He's even taking 30 from Sableye. I mean, it's huge. We will see a DCE drop onto the bench Mew. And we'll probably see a level ball or an Ultra Ball from Skyla. And yeah. So his opponent is pretty much done. Or rather, Luke is pretty much done. I mean, what can you even do here? I mean, sure, you're going to get poked for a while by the Sableye. You're going to... I really think you just have to Ultra Ball for the Shelmet here, and then just go for a big Juniper. But he goes for the N, and yeah, so what can he do here? Like, he really just has to draw so well off this N. He really has to get the Shelmet that he could have Skylid for, and then he has to hit. I'm at a loss for words, guys. I really don't know what he can do at this point to even pull back from losing to this one solo Sableye. He does hit a Tropical Beach. He hits a Shelmet, so he got everything he needs, kinda. Even as a Juniper, so his hand is good. You know, maybe in 15 minutes Luke wins. Maybe. But not in 60. You know, maybe if Luke realized he had lost, or he lost game 2 20 minutes ago, he would have won. However, that was not this match. So Luke ends up losing 2-1 in a pretty, like, I guess it was like a pretty epic game 1, and then like a 30-minute death scene for games 2 and 3. So come back for our top 8 match, and we'll see you then.